What up? What up? Shout out to LeMay for the comment, for watching the video. LeMay is saying that it should be Vine. And let me give some context on the video. If you could click on the comment right here from LeMay, had a post where I said, it's not crazy, it's divine. It's not crazy, it's divine. Say it with me. It's not crazy, it's divine. And LeMay point out from their perspective that the DI is a negative word put on divine or divinity and should be vine instead of divine, right? And we need to get away from English words because English words are spells, right? And I get that. I understand all of that, right? And I'm glad you came and commented this because it pushed me to really do more of the research and to looking into the things, and look into it. And my main thing before I even attempt to go further in is I want us to look at the frequency first versus looking at the spelling of the word, right? And that's what the divinity and divine comes into, right? Like, am I feeling the divinity from you before I even see anything else? Like, what is the energy I'm receiving? You know what I mean? Because people can smile in your face all the time, say the right things and the nice things, but it ain't coming from a place of divinity, right? It's not coming from a place of goodness, so to speak, right? So that's my first thing. It's the frequency, not the spelling, right? Second, I get where you're coming from when it comes to the vine, like vine, V-I-N-E, vine representing connection, right? Think about a vine that grows, right? Mother Nature type vine, right? It's about connection. It's about growth. It's about source. It's about extension from origin. It's about organic intelligence, right? Vine. This is definitely powerful because divine truth grows like a vine, right? It grows quietly. It grows intuitively, right? It grows towards the light. Every vine grows higher and higher or moving towards the light, right? It reaches before it understands and it expands before it explains. Even in scripture, I had to look this one up in John chapter 15, verse 5. It talks about, I am the vine, right? Ye are the branches, right? He who abides in me and I in him, the same bridge forth much fruit. For without me, ye can do nothing. That's King James right there. And I think that's where that vine comes from in context or comparison to vine being divine, right? In this right here on chapter 15 in John, this is part of a longer teaching that Jesus, the teacher, right, is using the vine imagery to describe spiritual connection, right, to describe alignment, right, and to describe source energy. And divine comes from the Latin word divinus, Divinus, right? Which means of God, God-like, sacred, inspired by deity. And divinus comes from, how you say this? Divus, right? Divus meaning God, shining one, heavenly being. Even deeper, both come from an ancient Proto-Indo-European root called or pronounced Dieu. Dieu, I think I'm saying it right. Dieu, D-Y-E-U, which means to shine, bright sky, daylight, right? The same root that gives us deity, Zeus, diva in Hindu, right? Diva, originally, like we know like the diva type, but really meaning shining woman originally, right? Before we put our spin on the divas, you a diva girl, you know what I mean? Diva woman, right? Jupiter, right? So these are the actual root, or this is the root of divine, The original meaning of divine is from the shining realm of the heavens, carrying God energy. It has nothing to do with di being a negative prefix, di being die, right? Not linguistically, not historically, and it doesn't resonate with me spiritually. Now, I'm not trying to take it away from you, right? And how it resonate with you, but just to be clear on my perception, right? So now going further in vine, right? The English word vine also comes from Latin, vina, vinea, right? And I'm not really good pronouncing words, but I think I'm saying it right. Which goes into vineyard, right? Grapevine, totally different root, totally different lineage, right? Not historically connected to divine. Yes, we have connected it, divine, or the Thevine, the vine was spoken about or used in context or reference in the Bible, yes, but they're not connected, at least not from my perspective. But there is esoteric connection that we did talk about earlier, the vine reaching upward, right? Growth towards the light, right? Intertwines, carrying life force. So yeah, that can be connected in that sense, yes. So when, people talk on the esoteric level, the spiritual level, the mystic level, so to speak, and it's not a level that's above or below, but you get what I'm saying. Divine is the vine. Come on, somebody, right? Divine is divine. I don't even, tell me if I'm making sense here, right? The Most High, the divine, divine, is the vine of life, right? Is the vine of life, right? We're not talking about the etymology of the word, right? I'm talking about what it actually is. And I get where you're coming from, but I just want to make sure that I'm clear on where I'm coming from. And you know what? I do rock with what you're saying, and I see your perception, and I feel that. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying you wrong, and I'm not saying you right. I'm saying what resonate with you. You know what I mean? And what resonate with me resonates with me. And just to kind of tie things up, I get what you're talking about, LeMay, with word magic, because word magic is real. Word magic is real, right? Linguistic programming is real, right? Vibrational decoding is real, right? Reclaiming language is a thing, right? Freeing spiritual concepts from English distortion is another thing too. So I'm down with that, and I get that, and I resonate with it, because words do carry frequency. I'm gonna say it again. Words do carry frequency, and English has a way of distorting spiritual truth. I'm not the first one to say it, okay? And that's my interpretation. So divine interpretation is, yes, looked at from a metaphysical lens, right? Not a linguistic one. And I know that's what you're saying, and I'm just being over elaborating for someone who's watching the video, okay? But no, it does not have a historical or a linguistic way of truth in that matter, where it is not true from my perspective and research that the DI in divine is a negative context or pretext, right? Divine does equal DI plus VINE, right? And I don't think that in this case right here, from my perspective, that English constructed the word to hide the spiritual truth behind it. That's not my viewpoint. Those ideas are just your or others' reinterpretation of what it is. And I respect that. You know what I mean? But to wrap it up, the word divine originally meant of the shining realm, right? Of source, of God. It was never a negative word, right? It was never meant to dilute anything. It was always a sacred reference, right? But what I think happened is, And a lot of times this does happen in real life when it's absorbed in English, as we're talking about, right? Or even not even absorbed in English. I'm just talking about as times go by, right? That word is diluted, it's flattened, right? And it's intellectualized, And what I mean by that, divine becomes a religious reference, right? So people see it as, if you talk about divine, some people, you're religious, right? It's sometimes tied to doctrine, right? It's lost its depth spiritually, esoterically, right? It's more of a now maybe experimental meaning in a sense, right? To some, okay? But somebody say but in the comments. When we strip all the language away, right? And that's what I do my best. I try to do, right? I try to come with the frequency of things and not the spelling of it, right? The frequency. And that's point to the frequency of divine, right? Source energy, cosmic intelligence, the shining realm, right? Some refer to as heaven, right? Some refer to, okay? The force that gives light, right? The vine of consciousness connecting all beings. The inner knowing that surpasses logic, right? So yes, divine is of the vine. Ooh, that was a deep one. Divine is of divine, right? And maybe not linguistically, but definitely esoterically from my point of view, right? The vine being source, right? And the branches being us connected to the vine, which is connected to source, right? And all of the fruit is who we becoming. I would even go as far as to say that this conversation is the fruit of the vine, which the vine is attached to the source, right? So when I say that it's not crazy, it's divine, it's because, it's we're quick to say something's crazy. And I know that it has a different meaning in different contexts. But I just wanted to say that to wake up some, or matter of fact, not even wake up some, share my experience with word play and word spells, as you were saying earlier, right? Well, you probably didn't say that, but I'm kind of put together, right? So it's never crazy to me. It's always divine because I'm always in my divine appointed place, right? Because I'm here on spiritual assignment. So I'm never in a crazy moment. I'm always in a divine moment. Come on, somebody, right? So I'm speaking from frequency and not grammar, if you dig what I'm saying. So just know that all my videos from this point forward and before is always from a frequency level and not a grammatic level in a sense. So I thank you for bringing this topic up, for your wisdom, for sharing your experience, your viewpoint. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate love that. How about that? I appreciate love. You like that wordplay right there? No, for real. I appreciate love that because it put me on a different viewpoint in breaking things down and explaining it to everyone. So thank you. Shout out to LeMay, y'all. Hope this helps. Peace.